What I'm about to say is not to be construed as another round in the continuing debate over capital punishment. It's merely to let you know that Broadway's latest star, a name that you would recognize, once was, through no fault of his own, on death row. And it is because his name is so frequently spoken in the annals of show business and is for unrelated reasons the center of contemporary Broadway controversy that you just must wait a little bit longer for the rest of the story. Technically, legally, actually, there is yet a crime on the state books of Connecticut for which one may burn. And it is for that crime that Broadway's latest award-winning star was once in the pen at Newington, and the big countdown, the last mile, death row, his jailers, seemingly callous, had to be, for theirs was the dirtiest job in the business, and of course, their apparent apathy only increased. His anxiety only made him more suspicious of the next man to enter the corridor. For one last meal, and one long last night stood between him and tomorrow morning he would die. As a matter of the greatest good fortune, the next man to enter the corridor was not the bearing of his last meal, but the harbinger of many meals to come, a messenger of freedom, and his name was Bill Berloni, and he was looking for types with which to cast a new play headed for Broadway. Now stay with me. As incredible as this sounds, it happened just the way I'm describing it. Bill was looking for a particular type actor, no previous experience necessary. Among those in confinement, by chance, he passed death row. He saw the doomed prisoner that we have been talking about, and that prisoner was just the one Bill had been looking for. Naturally, it was explained to Bill that the prisoner was condemned to die, within hours, in fact. But Bill did not care. With some pull, with some clout, he effected a stay of execution. He got the case reviewed. He got bail granted, and eventually the prisoner was exonerated. My goodness, look how far he's gone since then. The show opened at the Goodspeed Opera House in Connecticut. The production went from there to Broadway, just as Bill Berloni had promised it would. Now, as of last month, this most remarkable of all contemporary Broadway hits played to its 1,205th standing room only audience. I mean, this is the only Broadway show which is right now filling its theater to capacity for every performance. And listen to the string of awards. The New York Drama Critics Circle Award for Best Musical, a Theater World Award, 5 Outer Critics Circle Awards, 7 Drama Desk Awards, 7 Tony Awards, including Best Musical, and including one for the one who 1 year ago was on death row. Now, some are saying that he shouldn't have gotten that award, even though there can be little doubt that his personality has contributed to the advance ticket sale of millions of dollars, and to the Broadway smash based on a comic strip, Annie. Now, recently, the actor who once was condemned to die attended a black-tie dinner at the White House, was a guest of the President of the United States. And that, I'm sure you would agree, is a long way from the wire mesh pen at the Newington Humane Society, where he'd been ready to take the fall on a vagrancy rap, but was bailed out for $8 to steal the show as Sandy, little orphan Annie's sad-eyed, flop-eared mongrel dog. And now you know the rest of the story.
And now the rest of the story. Annie is such an uplifting production. It gave hope to a little orphan who had none. The play gave hope to a dog who had none, thanks to William Bill Berloni. In 1976, Bill was a theater major at Central Connecticut State University and an intern at the Goodspeed Opera House in East Haddam, Connecticut. Bill was an aspiring actor. During Bill's second season as an intern at the theater, producer Martin Sharman offered Bill a chance to get into the Actors Equity Association, which is a labor union which represents people who work in live theatrical performances. This would be one large step toward his becoming an actor. In exchange for getting into the labor union, Martin gave Bill the task of finding and training a dog to play Sandy in the musical Annie. As Mr. Harvey explained, Bill went to the animal shelter and found the dog that fit the criteria. According to the script by Charles Strouse, Thomas Meehan, and Martin Sharman, the dog was medium-sized, sandy-colored, and of an indistinguishable breed. Bill asked if he could take the dog for the production. He learned that he could adopt the dog if he paid the $8 adoption fee. Bill checked his pockets and found that he only had $2. He told the animal control officer that he would soon return with the full amount. The officer explained that he must hurry because the dog was scheduled to be put to sleep. Now, until this moment, Bill was completely unaware that animals which weren't adopted were killed, and he was mortified. Bill needed $6. With no other option, Bill borrowed the money from his roommate, but by this time the animal shelter was closed for the day. Now I can imagine that Bill spent a sleepless night worrying about the dog, not just because of the production, but just because the dog would lose its life. Early the next morning, Bill went back to the animal shelter. He must have wondered if the dog would still be alive. He waited and waited. Finally, an animal control officer arrived. Once the door was unlocked, Bill ran to the dog pen and found the dog just as he left him the day before. He practically threw the $8 to the officer and freed the dog forevermore. He saved Sandy's life. When asked why he went to an animal shelter to find Sandy, Bill said, "Animals end up in shelters for many reasons, but many of them end up there because of family hardships or a death in the family, not because of any behavioral issues. We hope to find those animals and hopefully adopt them." Bill had a tough job to do in training Sandy. She had about 15 to 20 cues per show. Getting a dog to perform on a big stage in front of thousands of people who hopefully would be applauding takes a lot of time. Bill had to ensure that Sandy was healthy. He had to housebreak Sandy. He trained Sandy to walk by his side, sit, stay, lay down, sit up, and come when called. Rather than being loud and whipping Sandy to get the desired result, Bill used food and kindness, positive reinforcement. Bill explained every behavior has a reward, and for the most part, the reward is love. So there's never any, if you do that, this is your punishment. There is, I'd like you to do this, and if you do, you'll get a reward. Bill knew that if the play went as planned, the 1,200 people in the audience would applaud. To acclimate Sandy to applause, Bill clapped whenever she performed properly. Within a short time, Sandy would do almost anything to get Bill to clap. Bill began teaching her the cues for the show. The actress playing little orphan Annie spent many hours bonding with Sandy by feeding her, walking with her, and even sleeping in the same bed with her. Sandy had to be able to listen to other people and not just Bill. Once Sandy and the actress bonded, dress rehearsals began, followed by opening night about a month later. All of the actors and actresses, including Sandy, performed brilliantly. Since 1976, Bill has continued to train dogs for stage, television, and film, including various stage production and film adaptations of Annie. Bill still trains dogs he finds in shelters for various productions. The direction of Bill's life was forever altered by the production of Annie. It was certainly a better direction for the dog. It's wonderful that such an uplifting production, Annie, had and still has such a positive and powerful, deeper meaning and backstory. It gives us hope. I'm Brad Dison. Thanks for watching. And as Paul Harvey would say, good day.